And just before his return from Canada, where he was attending the G7 summit, Prime Minister Modi had a 35-minute telephone call with President Donald Trump of the US. He said, in fact, he laid the record straight that there was no mention of any trade in the conversations that happened during Operation Sindoor between Indian and American officials, including a conversation that happened between Prime Minister Modi and Vice President J.D. Vance of the United States. There was no conversation in those 4 days between the 7th of May and the 10th of May between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. In fact, the last time they spoke was right after the Pahalgam attack on the 22nd of April. Also, that there was never any question, India has never and will never accept any third-party mediation between India and Pakistan. The White House so far has not put out its own readout to the conversation that happened between the Prime Minister and the President. But the big question is, will this go a long way in settling a claim that Trump has made on numerous occasions, at least a dozen occasions since the conclusion of Operation Sindoor, since the 10th of May, that he was the one who brokered the ceasefire between India and Pakistan? Will that now be laid to rest? Now, in the course of this 35-minute conversation, Prime Minister Modi told President Trump that he did not discuss any trade whatsoever in the talks that he had with J.D. Vance. He made it amply clear that no talks will be held on mediation with Pakistan, with the United States, or for that matter, any third power. Prime Minister even informed Trump that the ceasefire was initiated at the behest and at the request of Pakistan. It was the Pakistani DGMO who called the Indian DGMO asking for a ceasefire. He further added that India has not, does not, and will never accept any mediation when it comes to India-Pakistan issues. He also added that there was complete consensus on the issue of no mediation, even politically, amongst the opposition ranks and the Treasury benches back home here in India. Now, the takeaways from the conversation were plain and simple. Number one, that India is determined to take action against terror every time there is a major terror attack that is fomented, funded, and sponsored from Pakistan onto Indian soil. Number two, that India will respond to Pakistan's bullet with a bullet. It'll be blood for blood, measure for measure. Number three, that India will not accept, has not, and will never accept any form of third-party mediation in the conflict between India and Pakistan. Number four, diplomacy cannot be a bigger priority than autonomy or even strategic autonomy for India. That India has to look out for its interests. It's not going to cave at the altar of diplomacy, or it's not going to use diplomacy as a compromise for giving up or compromising on strategic autonomy. And number five, that India still paves its own path away from needless and over Western influence. So he's very clear that whether it is America or Russia or the European Union, India will not be overly dependent on any one bloc in the Western universe over and above its own national self-interests.
On Saturday, my administration helped broker a full and immediate ceasefire, I think a permanent one, between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of two nations with lots of nuclear weapons.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा.
And all of a sudden you'll start seeing missiles of a different type, and we got it settled. I hope I don't walk out of here and 2 days later find out that it's not settled, but I think it is settled. And we talked to them about trade. Let's do trade instead of do war. And Pakistan was very happy with that, and India was very happy with that.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी.
But some folks back home still continue to cast doubts, leading to a fresh war of words between the BJP and the Congress. The Congress saying that Mr. Trump did not say anything to mitigate or remove the concerns around mediation that brought an end to Operation Sindoor or brought an end to the military escalation that happened between India and Pakistan. Let's listen in to some political reactions.
वो जानकारी हमें मिली है. पर मेरा एक ही सवाल है कि राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप का बयान बिल्कुल अलग है, वो अलग है, ठीक है, अलग अलग देश अलग अलग बयान दे सकते हैं, पर हमारे प्रधानमंत्री विपक्ष के नेताओं से बातचीत से क्यों भाग रहे हैं? क्यों सर्वदलीय बैठक नहीं बुलाते?
बयान एक ऐसे राजनीतिक दल से आ रहे हैं जिनका झूठ प्रतिदिन सामने आता है.
But that's not all. In Washington, D.C., Donald Trump is now playing host to the Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, who is the guest of honor at the White House. He will be hosted for the traditional White House lunch. This comes a day after Munir faced the embarrassment and the wrath of the Pakistani diaspora, who raised slogans saying "Shame on you." This is upon his arrival in Washington, D.C. Even some of his own people seem to have disowned him. The question then is, why is Donald Trump so eager to mollycoddle the failed marshal, as he's known here in Indian circles, to mollycoddle Asim Munir? Here are a couple of reasons. Number one, Trump and his family has huge business interests in the crypto business in Pakistan. There were reports even during the course of Operation Sindoor about how the Pakistani establishment had invested up to $60 million in crypto instruments linked to the Trump family. Reason number two, China's military and economic influence in Pakistan. One of the claims that the US administration has made is to try and pry away Pakistan from the arms or the strategic embrace of China. Reason number three, Pakistan is important. It's critical now in the ongoing situation between Iran and Israel. Remember, Pakistan has shut large parts of its western border with Iran. It's not taking in refugees or people who are fleeing the war from Iran. Also, there is no strategic support coming in from the Pakistani military establishment to help Iran in this war against Israel. Reason number four, to try and use Pakistan in an equanimous way to try and always remind India that India will be boxed in this region. I want to go across to Professor Brahma Chalani, strategic affairs expert who's joining us. So let's deal with both of those issues separately. First, I want to talk about the phone call between Modi and Trump, 35 minutes. It's the first time they spoke after Operation Sindoor. Do you think it's late to rest this whole, brouhaha that's been going around, whether Trump mediated the ceasefire? Trump has said that a dozen times or so in the last month. Do you think the Prime Minister has said enough to Trump to get him to stop?
Zaka, in inviting Modi to visit Washington just after Trump had decided to meet with General Munir over lunch, suggested that even today, Trump is trying to play the role of a mediator between India and Pakistan. In fact, he tried to lay a trap for Modi by inviting him to Washington. A back-to-back meeting of Trump with Modi and General Munir would have been grist to the Pakistani propaganda mill. Fortunately, Modi's schedule did not allow any departure from his plans to visit Croatia. But even today, Trump has not given up on his mediatory instinct. And worse, by hosting General Munir, he is sending a damning signal. He's legitimizing the Pakistan military's central role in Pakistani politics. He's trying to give the army chief a role in regional security because the deliberations over lunch would be over regional security matters, not just about Iran. In fact, we should not forget the Trump administration invited Munir to Washington much before Israel began its war against Iran. So obviously, when they invited Munir to Washington, the agenda had to do with Pakistan, India, regional security, etc. But this attempt to normalize Pakistan's international standing, the standing of a country that has a enduring nexus with terrorist networks, suggests that Washington is seeking to revive the Cold War era strategic collaboration with Pakistan.
But tell me, Professor, through much of the war on terror from 2001 onwards, after the 9/11 attacks, for 20 years till the American troops left in 2021, left Afghanistan, it was that, they need Pakistan because, Pakistan does all the dirty work. That's what Khwaja Asif said as well. But now that the Americans have left Afghanistan and the Taliban is now very much entrenched there in the power circles. What is the strategic value that Pakistan brings to the United States?
That's a good question, but let's keep in mind one thing, that Trump in his first term broke with that long-standing American policy. He not only fundamentally changed America's China policy, he also changed America's Pakistan policy. He in fact cut off security assistance to Pakistan. Mm-hmm. It was Biden who tried to revive the Cold War era strategic collaboration with Pakistan. Okay. Biden was the one who initiated the IMF bailout packages for Pakistan. The Biden administration modernized Pakistan's F-16 fleet to make it more lethal against India. The Biden administration helped Pakistan exit the FATF gray list. Now, Trump is taking off from where Biden left. That suggests the American deep state now realizes the importance of Pakistan, an importance it actually earlier had forgotten about, but now is seeking to revive the equation with Pakistan for regional security purposes.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Professor Brahmacharlani, for joining us with your thoughts, your perspective into how America has gone back to an old Cold War era playbook of trying to play one off against the other between India and Pakistan.